Hello and welcome. We begin with the latest developments from Sudan, where a growing diplomatic rift with neighboring Chad and South Sudan is further escalating regional tensions. Now, Chad and South Sudan have strongly condemned threats made by a top Sudanese general who suggested Sudan might take military action against both countries, raising fears of a wider regional conflict. Over the weekend, Sudanese General Yasir Al-Atta declared in a broadcast that Sudan would retaliate against the UAE, South Sudan and Chad's president, Abu Dhabi. Now, he specifically labeled Chad's airports in N'Djamena and the UNRWA as legitimate military targets. The general also accused South Sudan of harbouring traitors. In response, Chad strongly condemned the remarks, warning they could be interpreted as a quote-unquote declaration of war. Now, N'Djamena warned that such rhetoric could lead to a dangerous escalation across the region, adding that it reserves the right to respond vigorously to any act of aggression. Now, South Sudan issued a similar statement, calling the comments a blatant violation of international law. Juba reaffirmed its commitment to peace, but warned it would take all necessary measures to defend its sovereignty. This diplomatic rift comes as the Sudan army continues to accuse the UAE of supplying drones to the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, its main rival in the nearly 2-year civil war. The UAE has consistently denied these charges, even as the UN experts and US lawmakers presented credible evidence to the contrary. Sudan has taken its case to the UN Security Council and the International Court of Justice, accusing Abu Dhabi of complicity in genocide against the Masalit ethnic group in Darfur. Further escalating tensions, Sudan has also accused Chad of facilitating weapons deliveries from the UAE to the RSF. Similarly, it has accused South Sudan of arming the paramilitary forces. Both N'Djamena and Juba have repeatedly denied these claims. Meanwhile, Chad has accused Sudan of decades of attempts to destabilize its government, including allegedly supporting rebellions and the Boko Haram terrorists. But since April of 2023, Sudan itself is in turmoil. The war between Sudan's army, led by Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, and the RSF, led by Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, has displaced millions since it erupted 2 years ago. In recent days, the conflict has intensified after the Sudanese army recaptured the presidential palace from the RSF. Burhan has vowed to completely liberate the North African country from the enemies.
في الشهر المبارك ده أن قواتنا تتقدم بخطاوي ثابتة عشان تكمل تحرير السودان. نحن نوعد عبركم الشعب السوداني أنه نحن ماشيين. المعركة دي ما حتقيف، ماشيين. ما حنغير الطريقة اللي ماشيين فيه ولا ما حنغيره. ما حنتراجع ولا حنتأخر. حنواصل لغاية النهاية.
The ongoing civil war has reportedly killed 150,000 people, displaced over 12 million, put at least 8 million on the brink of starvation, and nearly 25 million, which is around half of Sudan's population, suffered dire food insecurity. As fighting escalates, Sudan's war is not only devastating millions at home, but is also straining ties with its neighbors. With no clear path to peace, the region is increasingly facing an uncertain future. Now, for more insights on this, we have with us Charles Boissel, a Central Africa analyst for International Crisis Group, who is joining us live from Nairobi in Kenya. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Now, how credible is Sudan's threat to attack Chad's airports, and what might be the regional or international consequences if it follows through?
So we think that an open attack on Chadian airport by the Sudanese Army's Air Force would be quite surprising at this stage because it would push Chad to become even more involved in the Sudanese conflict and to give even more support to the opposing camp, the Rapid Support Forces. And Chad has a very powerful army, so it could represent a big threat. And for the moment, Chad only allows the United Arab Emirates to deliver arms from its territory and officially displays a position of neutrality. But an open attack by the Sudanese Air Force could prompt the Chadian president to increase its support or even to send troops to Darfur, which would be a very bad thing for the Sudanese armed force.
Yeah.
However, it's possible that the Sudanese armed force may support Chadian rebel or Chadian opponent of Déby. It's a long history between the two countries. As a reminder, in 2006 and 2008, Chadian rebel columns came from Darfur and they were supported by the Sudanese army and they tried to take power in Chad. And such a scenario could happen again in the future. Actually, there are at least several hundred Chadian rebels currently fighting the Rapid Support Forces in Darfur, in particular in the city of El Fasher. And El Fasher is a city quite close to the Chadian border. So if the Sudanese army wants to take revenge on Chad, it could support such groups, such rebel groups, to carry out attack in eastern Chad. Even if, for the moment, this rebel group do not seem to have the power or the strength to threaten the Chadian capital, N'Djamena. So in short, it would be counterproductive for the Sudanese army to enter into an open war against Chad, and it is more likely that the country will fight each other through proxy groups.
Right. And Charles, given the accusations against the UAE and South Sudan, how do the external actors complicate efforts to de-escalate the Sudanese civil war and prevent further regional spillover?
Yeah, in fact, so maybe one of the main enabler and sponsor is the United Arab Emirates. It's the main sponsor of the Rapid Support Forces, with massive financial and armed support since the start of the war. Without Emirati aid, the Rapid Support Forces would maybe have almost no chance of holding out against the Sudanese armed force. And this support is implying other neighboring countries because the Rapid Support Forces does not have an access to a sea front. So the Emirati weapons have to be delivered through the border of neighboring countries, in particular Chad and South Sudan. And with their almost unlimited financial resources, the United Arab Emirates had no trouble convincing this country to do so.
Right.
And but know that.
Thank you very much for being with us on Firstpost. Right, Charles, thank you very much for your valued insights there and for being with us on Firstpost Africa.
Thank you.
Greeting you with aloha and namaste.
No, I love India.
Presence, occupation of a territory by another country pertains to India, what we saw in Kashmir.
How do you see Trump's America?
Yes, the current administration behaves differently from the previous administration.
Are you saying that there are foreign powers who are trying to bring down the current government in Syria?
Exactly.
Iran, maybe Russia too.
Prime Minister Modi committed to South-South, cooperation.
For
not over 50%.
Is Ukraine prepared to pay the price for that peace?
No compromises at the cost of territorial integrity and sovereignty.